Have you ever thought about how much weight a small gesture can carry? Not a grand romantic declaration, not a lavish gift or a life-changing event. Just something simple, something quiet. A hand on your back when you're anxious, a warm smile across a crowded room, a text that says, "Just checking in, you are on my mind." In a world that often celebrates the loud and the grand, we sometimes forget the real connection is often built in small moments, in the day-to-day, in the seemingly insignificant choices we make to show up for someone else. And sometimes those small gestures are exactly what someone needs to feel seen, heard, and loved. Whether you are in a long-term relationship, nurturing a friendship, building trust with family, or simply trying to connect more deeply with the people around you, this conversation is for you. We are going to explore why small gestures matter so much more than we give them credit for. We'll talk about how these little acts of love and kindness build emotional safety, strengthen bonds, and make relationships not just last, but truly thrive. And I'll be sharing this with a personal lens. Because like many of you, I have learned that it's not always the big moments that stay with us. It's the tiny, tender ones. The way someone remembers your favorite snack after a hard day. The way they listen without interrupting. The way they look at you like you are their safe place. Think about the most meaningful relationships in your life right now. Chances are the things that make you feel closest to that person weren't dramatic or over the top. They were likely simple, steady, and intentional. So often we underestimate the value of these small acts because we have been conditioned to think that bigger is better. But what if the real magic is in the ordinary? What if the quiet, consistent gestures are actually the loudest expressions of love? Throughout this video, we are going to slow down and reflect on that. We'll explore the different types of small gestures that nurture deep bonds, emotional, physical, verbal, and how they shape the quality of our closest relationships. We'll also look at why they matter, how to make them a regular part of our life, and how receiving or offering them can shift the way you feel about yourself and others. So grab a warm drink, find a cozy spot, and take this time for yourself. Whether you are here to reflect, to reconnect, or simply to understand love a little more deeply, I'm really glad you are here. Let's begin. The quiet power of small gestures. When we talk about relationships, it's easy to imagine big moments like surprise trips, grand romantic gestures, or heartfelt speeches. Those moments certainly have their place. But what really builds deep, lasting connections isn't always the grand gestures. It's the small, everyday acts that go unnoticed but carry a quiet kind of power. Think about the last time someone did something small for you. Maybe they held the door open, sent a quick message to ask how you were doing, or maybe made a cup of tea just the way you like it. Did it brighten your day? Did it make you feel noticed and cared for? These tiny actions, even though simple, can make a huge impact. Small gestures are like the gentle threads weaving together the fabric of a relationship. They create an ongoing dialogue of care and attention without needing words or explanations. They say, "I'm here for you, I see you, and you matter to me," all without need for grand statements. Over time, these quiet moments accumulate into a sense of safety and belonging, the foundation of any strong relationship. In my own life, I have noticed how the smallest gestures have often meant the most. A friend who remembers my favorite coffee order, a partner who listens attentively after a rough day, or a family member who sends a thoughtful message just when I need it. These little things show a deep kind of love and presence. They remind me that I'm valued not just for who I am on the surface, but for all the little pieces that make me whole. There's something comforting about knowing that someone cares enough to pay attention to the details of your life. It's not about grand declarations of love or big expensive gifts. It's about presence, consistency, and thoughtfulness. These small gestures build emotional intimacy and trust in a way that words alone sometimes can't. Moreover, small gestures don't have to be perfect or elaborate. They just have to be genuine. A smile, a kind word, a touch on the arm, a note left on the kitchen table. These simple things communicate care and help us feel connected. In fact, sometimes the imperfections make them even more meaningful because they are authentic and come from a real place. As we explore this idea further in this video, I invite you to think about the small gestures in your own relationships. What are the little things that have made you feel loved or appreciated? And what small actions might you start offering to the people who care about you to deepen those bonds? Because when it comes to love and connection, it's often the small things that matter most. Why small gestures matter so much. Sometimes we underestimate the impact of small gestures because they seem so simple or ordinary. But the truth is, these little acts carry a depth that often goes unnoticed at first glance. They are the subtle ways we communicate love, respect, and care, and in relationships, communication is everything. Think about it. Relationships thrive on connection, and connection is built through repeated moments of attention and kindness. When someone offers a small gesture, they are saying without words, "I'm thinking of you," or "You are important to me." It might be as simple as sending a good morning text or noticing when your partner needs a little extra support. These gestures remind us that we are not alone, that someone is walking beside us through life's ups and downs. One of the beautiful things about small gestures is how accessible they are. They don't require planning expensive gifts or perfect timing. You don't need to wait for a special occasion or a milestone. Instead, they can happen any day, anytime. A quick phone call to check in, a genuine compliment, or even just making space to listen when someone wants to talk. All these are simple ways to nurture connection. In fact, science supports this idea. Research in psychology shows that small acts of kindness and appreciation can boost feelings of happiness and satisfaction in relationships. These tiny moments of thoughtfulness trigger positive emotions, creating a cycle of goodwill that strengthens the bond over time. It's like watering a plant. Regular, small amounts of care lead to steady, healthy growth. From a personal perspective, I have experienced how the smallest gestures can bring enormous comfort and closeness. I remember a time when a friend, knowing I was feeling overwhelmed, simply sent me a message saying, "I'm here if you want to talk." That short sentence made me feel seen and supported in a way that meant more than any grand gestures could have. It was a reminder that love doesn't always have to be loud. Sometimes it's the quiet presence that holds the most power. Also, small gestures have a ripple effect. When you receive a kind act, you are more likely to pass that kindness on, creating a positive chain reaction in your relationships and even beyond. It fosters a culture of care, empathy, and connection, not just between individuals, but within families, communities, and social circles. So, small gestures aren't just filler. They are the glue that holds relationships together, especially during times when words might fail or when life feels complicated. They keep the emotional connection alive, offering reassurance and warmth in moments both big and small. As we continue this journey, keep in mind how much influence these tiny actions can have. They are not just nice to haves, they are essential. And best of all, they are within everyone's reach. You don't need to be an expert in relationships to make a meaningful difference. All it takes is a little attention, a bit of thoughtfulness, and the willingness to show up in small but powerful ways. How small gestures build trust and emotional safety. One of the most powerful things small gestures do in any deep relationship is build trust and create a sense of emotional safety. Trust isn't something that appears overnight or after just one grand event. It's something that grows slowly, steadily, and quietly through consistent small actions. Imagine trust as a delicate flower that needs daily watering. Each small gesture, whether it's remembering something important to your loved one, listening patiently when they speak, or following through on a promise, adds a little more water to that flower. Over time, those small, thoughtful acts build a strong foundation where both people feel safe to be vulnerable, to share their true selves without fear of judgment or rejection. Emotional safety is that feeling you get when you know you can be open and honest with someone without worrying that your feelings will be dismissed or misunderstood. It's the space where you can cry, laugh, share fears, or express dreams and still feel completely accepted. And small gestures are key to creating this space. For example, when a partner gently asks, "How are you really feeling?" or a friend takes the time to really listen instead of offering quick advice, they are reinforcing that emotional safety. These small gestures show that your feelings matter, that your inner world is seen and respected. I have personally experienced how these little acts of kindness and attentiveness have helped me to feel safe in relationships. When someone takes the time to check in on me during a stressful week or simply holds my hand while I'm upset, it sends a message that I am not alone. That message, though small, makes a huge difference in how secure and connected I feel. It's also important to note that small gestures build trust not only through positive actions, but also by showing consistency. When you repeatedly show up for someone in these little ways, it creates reliability. They begin to know they can count on you, which strengthens the bond. On the flip side, neglecting small gestures, even unintentionally, can create distance or uncertainty. When someone stops making those daily efforts, even tiny ones, it can cause us to question whether the relationship is still strong. This is why paying attention to small gestures is so crucial. They are the emotional glue holding people together. In deep relationships, this trust and emotional safety lay the groundwork for honesty, openness, and resilience. When you know you can be your authentic self without fear, you can face conflicts, challenges, and changes with more confidence and compassion. So next time you think small gestures don't matter much, remember they are the invisible threads weaving trust and emotional safety into your relationships. Each little act of kindness, attention, and care builds a strong, nurturing space where love can truly flourish. Why small gestures matter more during difficult times? Life isn't always smooth. We all go through phases where everything feels heavy. Loss, illness, job stress, heartbreak, or just sheer emotional exhaustion. During such times, it's often not advice or grand declarations that help the most. It's the tiny, thoughtful gestures that quietly holds us together. When someone is struggling, their world can feel overwhelming. In these moments, even the smallest sign of care, an encouraging text, a warm cup of tea, or a gentle squeeze of the hand can be deeply comforting. It tells them you are not alone. I see you. Consider someone going through a tough breakup. A quick, just checking on you message or a care package with little things they love like snacks, books, or a silly handwritten note can help them feel supported even when they don't feel like talking. It might not change their situation, but it reminds them they are loved, and that makes the healing easier. Small gestures also have a grounding effect during periods of anxiety or depression. When someone is mentally struggling, they may not be able to express what they need, but a warm blanket placed around their shoulders, a simple home-cooked meal, or a friend gently reminding them to drink water, these quiet actions can make an enormous difference. They create safe, loving space without pressure or expectation. It's also important to recognize that difficult times don't always involve dramatic life events. Sometimes it's just a tough day. Maybe someone's been stuck in traffic, had a fight at work, or is simply feeling a little off. A smile, a compliment, a shared laugh, or a small unexpected treat can brighten their mood instantly. These gestures remind us that even in hard moments, kindness still exists. And here's something beautiful to remember. You don't have to know exactly what someone's going through to be kind. You just have to care. Small gestures are your way of saying, I may not understand everything, but I'm here for you in the way I can be. In hard times, we don't need perfection. We need presence, not grand solutions, but simple reassurance, a little note, a soft word, a moment of attention. Those are the things that help people breathe again, and often they are remembered forever. As we come to the end of this conversation, let's pause for a moment to breathe it all in. The idea that something as simple as a kind word, a thoughtful message, or a loving gesture can hold so much power. It's both humbling and inspiring, isn't it? In the hustle and chaos of daily life, we often get caught up in the big things. We wait for the right time, the perfect moment, or the grand opportunity to express our love and appreciation. But the truth is, we don't need to wait for birthdays, anniversaries, or milestones to show someone that they matter. Love is not reserved for special occasions. It's built in the in-between moments, in the ordinary, in the quiet. A warm hug before leaving for work, a midday check-in text that simply says, thinking of you, leaving the light on for someone who's coming home late, offering to take something off their plate when they are overwhelmed. These moments are not small acts. They are the heartbeat of strong, loving, lasting relationships. And the most beautiful part, anyone can do it. You don't need money or poetry or perfect timing. All you need is the intention to care and the willingness to express it, however simply. Maybe someone you know has had a long day. Could you make them their favorite cup of tea? Maybe your friend hasn't heard from you in a while. Could you send them a quick voice note? Maybe your partner has been unusually quiet. Could you hold their hand and say, I'm here? These gestures don't take much, but they leave a lasting impression. Over time, they weave a safety net of love, a fabric of connection that can hold strong even when life feels uncertain or hard. Let this be a gentle reminder. You have more power than you think to bring light into someone's day. You don't need to fix everything. You just need to show up again and again in small, thoughtful ways. So today, as you go about your life, try to look for one small opportunity to connect. One tiny way to say, I see you, I care. It could be for a partner, a friend, a child, or even a stranger. And while you are at it, don't forget to offer those same small gestures of kindness to yourself too. You deserve that warmth just as much as anyone else. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope this video leaves you feeling a little more connected, a little more aware, and a lot more inspired to cherish the people around you. Not just through grand declarations, but through the quiet beauty of small everyday love. Until next time, take care, stay kind, and remember, the smallest gestures often leave the biggest marks. I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, keep glowing.